Audrey becoming the villain in Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage Season 2 is one of the most surprising creative turns the show has taken so far, and it works precisely because it doesn't arrive loudly or dramatically. Instead, it sneaks up on the audience through small decisions, passive-aggressive moments, and a growing pattern of behavior that slowly reveals how destructive she can be when she feels threatened, ignored, or out of control. What makes this twist land is that Audrey isn't written as a cartoon antagonist. She's written as someone who genuinely believes she's right. At the start of the series, Audrey came across as overbearing but well-meaning. She was opinionated, critical, and often dismissive, but those traits were framed as part of a familiar sitcom archetype, the controlling parent who thinks they know best. Season 2 quietly dismantles that framing. Audrey's actions stop being about concern and start being about dominance. The difference is subtle, but once it becomes clear, it's impossible to unsee. What pushes Audrey into villain territory isn't a single explosive moment, but her consistent refusal to respect boundaries. Georgie and Mandy are trying, imperfectly, awkwardly, and sometimes foolishly, to build a life together. Every step they take toward independence seems to trigger Audrey's need to interfere. She questions their decisions, undermines their confidence, and reframes their struggles as proof that they can't survive without her influence. The more they push forward, the harder she pushes back. The most unsettling part is how Audrey disguises control as help. She doesn't openly sabotage them. She inserts herself just enough to destabilize things while maintaining plausible deniability. When something goes wrong, she isn't technically at fault, but she's always nearby, ready to say, "I told you so." This tactic allows her to maintain moral superiority while quietly eroding Mandy's trust in herself and Georgie. Audrey's relationship with Mandy is where her villain arc becomes clearest. Instead of supporting Mandy's growth, Audrey seems threatened by it. Mandy becoming more confident, more assertive, and more independent directly challenges Audrey's identity as the guiding force in her daughter's life. Rather than adjusting, Audrey doubles down. She critiques Mandy's choices under the guise of honesty, but the subtext is control. Mandy isn't allowed to fail, because failure would mean Audrey was right, and Mandy isn't allowed to succeed, because success would mean Audrey is no longer necessary. Georgie, meanwhile, becomes Audrey's easiest target. From her perspective, he represents chaos, instability, and a loss of influence. Instead of seeing him as a flawed young man trying to do better, Audrey treats him as an obstacle to be managed. She questions his maturity, his work ethic, and his ability to provide, often in front of others. These moments aren't just insulting, they're strategic. They plant doubt, strain the marriage, and reinforce Audrey's belief that she is the smartest person in every room. What elevates Audrey from difficult to villainous is her unwillingness to self-reflect. Season 2 repeatedly gives her opportunities to step back, apologize, or reconsider her role. She never does. Even when confronted, she reframes criticism as disrespect. In her mind, opposition proves she's right. That closed loop of logic is what makes her dangerous. She cannot be reasoned with because she doesn't believe she can be wrong. The show also smartly avoids turning Audrey into a mustache-swirling antagonist. She has moments of warmth. She shows affection. She even occasionally gives good advice. That's what makes her arc so effective. Villains in real families aren't obvious. They're people who love you but refuse to let you grow. Audrey's actions hurt not because she hates Georgie and Mandy, but because she believes her authority should be unquestioned. Season 2 also highlights how Audrey's behavior affects the broader family dynamic. Her presence creates tension in rooms that should feel safe. Conversations become guarded. Decisions feel performative rather than honest. Everyone adjusts their behavior around her, and that's a classic sign of someone exerting unhealthy power. The family doesn't revolve naturally. It revolves defensively. In contrast, the show subtly positions other parental figures as foils to Audrey. Where she controls, others listen. Where she criticizes, others encourage. This contrast makes Audrey's behavior stand out even more. It's no longer just how she is. It's a choice she keeps making. What's especially impressive is how the show allows the audience to reach this conclusion without spelling it out. There's no dramatic reveal where Audrey declares herself the villain. Instead, viewers slowly realize they're dreading her scenes. They tense up when she enters a room. They anticipate conflict not because the characters are bad, but because Audrey cannot tolerate situations where she isn't steering the outcome. This arc also deepens Georgie and Mandy's marriage. Audrey's opposition forces them to confront whether they're truly a team. Every interference tests their ability to communicate, trust, and defend each other. In that sense, Audrey isn't just a villain, she's a stress test. And the fact that she doesn't realize this only reinforces her role as the antagonist. Audrey becoming the villain doesn't mean she's irredeemable. In fact, the best part of this storyline is that redemption is still possible, but only if she's willing to change. So far, Season 2 suggests she isn't. And that refusal, more than anything else, is what cements her as the show's most surprising antagonist. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage doesn't turn Audrey into a villain through cruelty or malice. It does something far more unsettling. It shows how control, when left unchecked, can quietly become the most damaging force in a family. And by making Audrey the embodiment of that truth, Season 2 delivers one of its smartest and most emotionally grounded twists yet.